This video will provide an overview of the required documentation needed before, during, and after each placement. This checklist has been developed as an optional tool. While it is not required, it may be very handy to use. You may choose to complete this form with each placement as a check that you've completed all the appropriate requirements and documentation. Alternatively, maybe it's something you print out and post at your workstation and refer to help keep you on track with what is required. We have developed videos regarding each of the specific forms mentioned here. As such, I will not be going into detail about how to fill out the different forms noted here, but rather be providing an overview of the steps needed. Before each placement, you should send an introduction email to your preceptor. Often this is done about 4 to 6 weeks before the placement. You do want to make sure your dietetic education coordinator has connected you with your preceptor before reaching out, however. You will also, prior to your placement, send your preceptor a copy of the pre-placement report, having completed the initial sections required by the student. You will also need to complete any pre-placement onboarding, activities, learning plans, or other required preparation. This will vary by placement. During the placement, there's a number of documentations you will need to maintain. Firstly, by the end of your first week, you and your preceptor will complete the pre-placement report, as well as an orientation checklist. This will be emailed back to the DEC and uploaded to OWL. Again, refer to our other videos on how to complete these forms. Midway through your placement, at minimum, you will complete an interim performance assessment with you and your preceptor. We also recommend throughout your placement, you keep a log of your activities and the competencies you're engaging with. At the end of the placement, you will complete a final evaluation. This is a comprehensive assessment of the activities you've engaged in relative to the DDEPT competencies. You will complete a post-placement survey to provide feedback on your placement experience. You can click the link here to access the survey. It is also available in OWL. We ask that all projects, presentations, and resources created during the placement be uploaded to OWL. There occasionally may be times where you're working on a project where it is proprietary in nature and your preceptor would prefer it not to be shared outside their organization. In those cases, you do not need to upload that to OWL. And finally, at the end of the placement, you may need to complete a reflection. Again, you don't need to complete a reflection for every single placement, but you will need to complete a reflection for one population health placement, one nutrition care placement, and one food provision placement for a total of 3 reflective practices over the course of the practicum year. More detail regarding the expectations around reflective practice will be shared in future cohort meetings. We also encourage you at the end of your placement to thank your preceptor. Preceptors offer a lot of time and energy in supporting students, and it is meaningful for them to hear how they've contributed to a student's experience. In terms of etiquette, generally you do not need to and should not give your preceptor a gift. Rather, a card is sufficient in terms of a thank you. Additionally, verbally sharing with them how they impacted your experience And providing meaningful comments on your final evaluation is also a wonderful way to say thank you. If you have any questions about these steps, please touch base with your dietetic education coordinator.